Hello and welcome to another Arkeys video and to a new 2 million credit time trial challenge on Gran Turismo 7. This time we are at Brands Hatch, the Grand Prix layout, and we are in the 1996 Nissan Silvia Case Aero S14 and we are on the Comfort Soft tires. My original plan was to just do an hour of first impressions and then do a video, but it turned out that I enjoyed driving the car, so I went down the rabbit hole. Unfortunately, I missed a few vital details along the way, so I had to give it another go on Friday. And this is the highlights from that very long time trial session. And if you are enjoying the content, please feel free to hit the like and subscribe button. It is highly appreciated. And now let's jump into this one for the first time. So this is Thursday morning, a few seconds before the new time trial opens. We are jumping straight in, and we are also picking up the price for the previous time trial in that electric car. And now we are jumping into this one for the first time. And the first shaky lap, we will also have a look at some braking references. So just ignore the driving. The first reference is the 2 board as you're coming into turn 1. And we are just carefully getting the car slowed down, coming down the hill, staying on the track. And as we're coming up here, you have that red/orange part of the barrier. That's a good marker for the hairpin. And now we are just trying to keep it narrow and get back onto the power. And we're coming up towards the first left-hander, and we've got the 1 board. That's a good marker for that one. You need to brake early for this corner, just trying to coast through and carefully getting back on the power. A bit of a sideways motion there. We've got another 1 board coming up. That's a good marker for this one. Carefully on the brakes, trying to bring the car towards the inside just as the sector line crosses the track. That's the late apex for this one. And now for my big mistake. For the first couple of hours at least, I'm revving out the car. You're not supposed to do that. I will learn that later. Here, that red/orange barrier is a good marker for this corner, and just trying to coast through, getting back onto the power. And we've got another red barrier coming up, as I'm using this one as a reference for getting slightly onto the brakes and just coasting through this corner. I'm taking it in 4th gear this time. I think I start going down to 3rd gear. And we've got another barrier, this green one. That is my reference. As soon as that disappears from the screen, I know I need to slow down, get down to 3rd gear for this corner. And this big, beautiful green tree is my reference for the left-hander here. I was braking a bit late this time and I was running a bit wide. We've got 1 marker left as we're coming under the bridge here. I am using that green barrier. When that disappears, I know I need to be on the brakes, and we are making our way through this corner. I am probably just revving out the car once again. We will get back to that, but we are going across the line in a rather slow 1:48.950, but at least that's my first lap done, and we are jumping straight back in. There are not really any fast ghosts to follow yet, so we just need to carry on without. We are coming into turn 1 a bit sideways. You need to be careful if you use that 3rd gear for rotation. We are jumping straight to the end of this lap. We are going to take off a big chunk of time as we are coming down to 1:47.608. So now we've done 6-7 minutes of driving, 2 laps completed. At least I was off for a good start, but in hindsight, not really, because I did that crucial short shift mistake. We are down to a 47.498, and we are going to stay on board for a bit on this lap. This lap is going to be fast enough for gold, even as the goal time is at the moment on this Friday. I think you need a 46.9 to secure the gold at the moment. We are coming through the hairpin. I'm still exiting in 2nd gear. I'm using all the wrong gears. I'm still revving out the car, doing those mistakes. But at least we are improving now. We are looking for the 1 board, carefully on the brakes and slowly coming off the brakes, trying to get the car rotated, find that inside apex just as the sector line crosses the track. Looking for the barrier on the inside, slight dab on the brakes, but it's coming off the brakes that makes the car rotate, so don't hang on to the brakes for too long. And the same goes for this one, down to third gear, just let the car coast through. Get back onto the power as soon as you can, looking for the barrier before the one board and coasting through this corner as well. And now we're looking at that big beautiful tree, getting the car slowed down, staying in third gear. And now we've got the final corner to go, looking at the green barrier before the one board. And we're using third gear, and I'm still revving out that gear, but we're going across the line in a 46.688. So now we've done 17 minutes, but we are just jumping straight in. I'm having fun driving this car. It's a nice car to drive. Now there is a fast enough ghost to use, and we are quickly skipping through this lap as well, taking a big chunk of the inside. That's a bit risky. We are coming through this fast corner at the end of the straight, staying in fourth gear, just letting the car coast through, let the car rotate, and also just being careful through that corner, and coasting through there as well, up to fourth gear this time, and using third gear. We managed to stay on the track this time, and you can see the ghost is taking a bit risky grass line, but it seems to be faster. We are down to a 46.371, and this time I ended up in the gravel, so we are just carefully parking the car, and we've done 24 minutes now. And I'm still hanging on to the P10, the early doors P10. We are going to carry on. This is only going to be a small improvement, still a big chunk of the grass. Yeah, that was only a very small improvement, that one. But we are going to take off a bit more on the following lap. We are down to a 146.220. We've done 34 minutes, and you can see the P1 time is coming down as well. We need to get a move on. This time I managed to get into the 45s. We're going to stay on board for a bit. Coming up the hill, we are looking for the barrier, and this time, a bit of foreshadowing, I decided to try to stay in third gear for the exit, and I think at the time I found it a bit too boggy, so I went back to using second gear, and you can see I'm still revving out the car on the straight. My lines through the corners are sort of all right though, so we are still carrying some speed, using the barrier on the inside there, and down to third gear, getting back onto the power, a bit slidey on the exit. And this corner as well, you just don't want to run off onto the grass on the left hand side. We are sticking to the inside. We are down to a 145.877. We've done 41 minutes now, so we are getting closer to the end of the first hour. And unfortunately, my final run within the first hour was only going to be a tiny improvement. We are down to a 45.842. So that was it for the first hour, and now we are entering overtime. And at this point, I didn't know I was also about to enter a rabbit hole of epic proportions. If I had watched a replay, I would have stopped using second gear for the exit. I would have stopped revving out the car on the straights. But we managed to get the time down to 145.694, and I could have just stopped here, made a first impressions video, but I had fun driving the car, so I kept driving all the way until I had to leave for work, but unfortunately still doing the wrong shifting and still revving the car out on the straight. But I was slowly but surely chipping off a bit more time, but it wasn't going fast. I was slowly getting into the lower 45s, but I was getting stuck, and finally I ended up binning the car as well. And now I had done 3 hours in total. I still haven't spotted my mistake, and I ended up adding almost another hour to my driving, and finally, out of the blue, I decided to try something. I'm still exiting in second gear out of the hairpin, but as we are coming down the straight, I decided to try a slight short shift. And I could see that I was gaining time, and by the end of the lap, I did get in another small improvement, and now I was highly suspicious, and I really had to get in a hurry to get to work, and I couldn't drive more for that day, so I had to wait until the next day to jump back in. And now I've watched both Keys and Titsney's guides, and I could see that I had wasted so much time on that Thursday. And this is on my other EMEA account. This is my first lap Friday morning. I'm already almost matching my time, and the lap immediately after I beat my Thursday time just by doing the right gear changes and maybe coming in with a fresh mindset as well. And of course that triggered another trip down the rabbit hole. So we are jumping back in, and 10 minutes later I managed to improve my time yet again. We're coming down the hill, and we are down to a 1:45.158. I'm exiting the hairpin in third gear now. You just need to trust that it will pull out of there and really get the car lined up so you can just get aggressively onto the power. And as we are coming down the straight, now I'm going to upshift at around 6,500, and that's roughly just above the middle of the ref bar. We're down to a 1:45.127, and now I saw my optimum time drop into the 1:44s. So now I just want to get that 1:44. Now I've already spent another 2 hours on this time trial. It would be easier to just do a few money grinding races to get those 2 million credits, but this is going to be it. We are coming into turn 1, a bit too much of the grass for my own taste, looking for the barrier just before the bridge, down to second gear for the rotation, but back up to third gear, just keeping the foot planted out of there, make sure the car doesn't get all wiggly. A tiny dab on the brakes, letting the car coast through, and now we are looking for the one board, and we are carefully coming onto the brakes and carefully coming off the brakes again to make sure the car will seek towards the inside, getting back onto the power up the hill. Now we're going to upshift just above the middle of the ref bar, and we are going to look for that barrier on the inside just between the 2 and the 1 board. So a tiny dab on the brakes, releasing the brakes to make sure that the car will rotate, stay in fourth gear. Now we are going to do a late drop into, no, actually an early drop into third gear. A bit slightly on the exit there, but we managed to keep it together. I was losing a bit time compared to earlier runs. Now dropping to third gear, staying in third gear, short shifting to fourth gear, looking at the tree, and we are staying in third gear, letting the car coast through. A bit slightly on the exit, that lost me a tiny bit of time, and now I am going to take a bit of that grass line, and we are sliding into the corner. I had to briefly get out of the throttle there, but I managed to still carry some momentum, and we are seeking towards the inside, shortest route towards the finish line, and we are going across the line in a 1:44.964. Man, this was a struggle. I'm parking this for now. I'm certainly not going to try to chase this even further. I have a few other accounts I will just do to make a secure gold. This is a fun time trial. I spent way too much time. So the lesson to us all, especially me, check out a leaderboard replay before you get too far into doing stupid stuff. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, found it entertaining and maybe even somewhat useful. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you next time. Bye bye.